said you'd had misfortunes," murmured Flame.
Misfortunes? Rallied Delcote. I should think I had. In a single year I've lost my health, money, most everything I own in the world, except my man and my dogs.
"They're good dogs," testified Flame.
And the doctor sent me here for 6 months, persisted Delcote, before he'll even hear of my plunging into things again.
6 months is a good long time," said Flame. "If you turn the hems we could make yellow curtains for the parlor in no time at all."
We? Stammered Delcote.
Mother," said Flame, "it's a long time since any dogs lived in the Rattle Pane house."
Rattle Brain House? Bridled Delcote.
"Rattle Pane house," corrected Flame. A little bit worriedly, Delcote returned to his seat.
I shall have to rend the turkey instead of carve it, he said.
"Rend it," acquiesced Flame. In the midst of the rending a dark frown appeared between Delcote's eyes.
These guests that you were expecting?" he questioned.
"Oh, stop!" cried Flame. "Dreadful as I am, I never would have dreamed of inviting guests."
This guest, then, frowned Delcote. Was he?
"Oh, you mean Bertrand?" flushed Flame. "Oh, truly, I didn't invite him. He just butted in, same as you."
Same as I, stammered Delcote.
"Well," floundered Flame, "well, you know what I mean, and—" With peculiar intentness the master of the house fixed his eyes on the knotted white handkerchief which Flame had thrown across the corner of her chair. "And is this Bertrand person so dazzling," he questioned, "that human eye may not look safely upon his countenance?" "Bertrand? Dazzling?" protested Flame. "Oh, no, he's really quite dull. It was only," she explained with sudden friendliness, "it was only that I promised Mother not to see him. So of course when he butted in I—" "Oh," relaxed the master of the house. With a precipitous flippancy of manners which did not conform at all to the somewhat tragic austerity of his face, he snatched up his knife and fork and thumped joyously on the table with the handles of them.
"And some people talk about a country village being dull in the winter time," he chuckled, "with a dog's masquerade and a robbery at the rectory all happening in the same evening."
Grabbing her cat in her arms, Flame jerked her chair back from the table. "A robbery at the rectory!" she gasped. "Why, I'm the rectory! I must go home at once!"
"Oh, shucks!" shrugged the master of the house. "It's all over now, but the people at the railroad station were certainly buzzing about it as I came through."
"Buzzing about it?" articulated Flame with some difficulty. Expeditiously the master of the house resumed his rending of the turkey.
"Are you really from the rectory?" he questioned. "How amusing! Well, there's nothing really you could do about it now. The constable and his prisoner are already on the way to the county seat, wherever that may be. And a freshly burgled house is rather a creepy place for a young girl to return to all alone. Your parents are away, I believe?"
"Constable?" babbled Flame quite idiotically.
"Yes, the regular constable was off Christmasing somewhere, it seems, so he put a substitute on his job. A stranger from somewhere. Some substitute that. No mulling over hot toddies on Christmas night for him. He saw the marauder crawling in through the rectory window. He saw him fumbling now to the left, now to the right, all through the front hall. He followed him up the stairs to a closet where the silver was evidently kept. He caught the man red-handed, as it were, or rather white-handed," flushed the master of the house for quite some unaccountable reason. "To be perfectly accurate," he explained conscientiously, "he was caught with a pair of—" Delicately he spelt out the word, "with a pair of CORSETS rolled up in his hand, but inside the roll it seemed there was solid silver, very elaborate carving set on which the parish had recently presented. The wretch was just unrolling it, then, when he was caught."
That was Bertrand, said Flame, my father's lay reader. It was the man's turn now to jump to his feet. "What?" he cried. "I sent him for the carving knife," said Flame.
"What?" repeated the man. Consternation versus hilarity went racing suddenly like a cat and dog combat across his eyes.
"Yes," said Flame.
From outside the door the sound of furious knocking occurred suddenly.
"That sounds to me like parents knocking," shivered Flame.
"It sounds to me like an escaped lay reader," said her host. With a single impulse they both started for the door. "Don't worry, little girl," whispered the young stranger in the dark hall.
"I'll try not to," quivered Flame.
They were both right, it seemed. It was parents and the lay reader. All three breathless, all three excited, all three reproachful, they swept into the warm, balsam-scented Rattle-Pane house with a gust of frost, a threat of disaster. "Flame!" sighed her father. "Flame!" scolded her mother.
"Flame!" implored the lay reader.
"What a pretty name!" beamed the master of the house. "Pray be seated, everybody." He gestured graciously to the left and right, shoving one dog expeditiously under the table with his foot, while he yanked another out of a chair with his least gesticulating hand. "This is certainly a very great pleasure, I assure you," he affirmed distinctly to Miss Flamande Nourice. "Returning quite unexpectedly to my new house this lonely Christmas evening," he explained very definitely to the Reverend Flamande Nourice. "I can't express to you what it means to me to find this pleasant gathering of neighbors waiting here to welcome me. And when I think of the effort you must have made to get here, Mr. Bertrand," he beamed, "a young man of all your obligations and complications." "Pleasant gathering of neighbors?" questioned Mrs. Nourice with some emotion. "Oh, I forgot," deprecated the master of the house with real concern. "Your Christmas season is not, of course, as inherently pleasant as one might wish. I was told at the railroad station how you and Mr. Nourice had been called away by the illness of a relative." "We were called away," confided Mrs. Nourice with increasing asperity, "called away at considerable inconvenience by a very sick relative to receive the present of a piebald pony."
"Oh, goody!"
quickened Flame, and collapsed again under the weight of her mother's glance. "And then came this terrible telephone message," shuddered her mother. "The implied dishonor of one of your father's most trusted associates." "I was right in the midst of such an interesting book," deplored her father, "and Uncle Wally wouldn't lend it." "So we borrowed Uncle Wally's new automobile and started right for home," explained her mother. "It was at the junction that we made connections with the constable and his prisoner." "His victim," intercepted the lay reader coldly. At this interception everybody turned suddenly and looked at the lay reader. His mouth was twisted very slightly to one side. It gave him a rather unpleasant, snarling expression. If this expression had been vocal instead of muscular, it would have shocked his hearers. "Your father had to go on board the train and identify him," persisted Flame's mother. "It was very distressing. The constable was most unwilling to release him. Your father had to use every kind of argument." "Every kind," mused her father. "He doesn't even deny being in the house," continued her mother. "Being in my closet, being caught with a "With a silver carving knife and fork in his hand," intercepted the lay reader hastily. "Yet all the time he persists," frowned Flame's mother, "that there is some one in the world who can give a perfectly good explanation, if only